everyone, and welcome back to Between the Hashmarks. We are back for episode number 7. Last week we could not be here, unfortunately, because we had to go and take part in the World Poker Tour. We got to actually get our feet in the sand and hang out with some of the best poker players in the world, including the world-renowned vloggers Andrew Nemi and Brad Owen. So that was a lot of fun. Tyler got to take some pictures.
We had a blast, man. We took some pictures, made some reels. It was very enjoyable. We talked to a lot of people. A lot of people were very receptive, very friendly. We met the Rural Flesh Grows. They were great. They were super nice. Shout out to Ivy Tevis and her fiance. They have a little vegan. I think it's Coach Vegan.
Yeah.
It's CoachVegan.com. Go check that out, man. It's real cool. They started their own little business, and they said it took them like 3 years, but they've been rolling with it, and they were super receptive, very, very nice people.
Yeah, she was very nice, very beautiful young lady, very approachable, and just talk to us about the podcast and what we do, and if you want to grow what you have and how to do it, and her own success that she's had and how she's got there. So it was super, super cool, and I was really excited to meet her.
We were real receptive, and everyone there was receptive. We were taking pictures, and everybody was having a blast and having fun, and took pictures with the Jack's Regs, and we did a lot of cool things, man. It was a blast, and we got to meet some people and saw some cool stuff. But,
so that's why we weren't here last week, but we are back, and we got a lot to talk about, Tyler.
Oh boy,
we have a lot to talk about this week.
Oh boy,
where do we want to go, and
we're going to start right with the home team. I don't know what that was. I was watching that game, and I'm going to tell you right now, man, it was tough. It was tough to watch.
Tough ain't even a word.
I'm going to say this, man. The Niners are going to be tough to beat if Chase Young is healthy. Because those two guys off that edge were just wrecking.
Was it? I didn't focus. I didn't focus in on Chase Young, and like his effect that he had early on. I was too busy just completely floored at how the Jags were getting manhandled. Did he play well? Did he get
they both played well off that edge, and it's weird, like he's always had issues with. He's always had issues with. That
works.
Wow, I don't know what was going on. That was wild. Anyways, he's always had issues with injuries, and then it's weird how somebody who always has injury with issues, when they get to a good team, those injuries aren't such injuries anymore, and they tend to play more games. It just tends to happen more than you realize.
Yeah, and it's big acquisition. You think of the 49ers as this kind of like Thanos-based team, right? Not necessarily snapping their fingers and taking out half of existence, but by pure firepower. Over the years, amassing first-round draft picks, the fact that they gave up so much to get Trey Lance and they still have so much. And you have your critiques of Brock Purdy. Can he get it done? Me being a Vikings fan, that Vikings game kind of put him on notice, and he responded well in the last few weeks, and he played amazing against the Jaguars. 34-3, there was no shot for them to ever win.
I think moving on with the Jags, there's really not a whole lot to talk about. There wasn't a whole lot of good to take from that game. I think Jags moving forward, you chalk this into a bad loss. We didn't show up, and we move forward. They're still first place in the division. They're still fine, but the Texans are on their heels, and the Texans look good.
We'll get there for sure.
They have a dub. Sure. They have a dub against Jacksonville, so that next game against the Texans might be very, very huge.
But as you said, if you're Jaguars fans, you don't want to panic. You took an ass whooping. But you took an ass whooping to one of the best teams in the NFC. They got back Trent Williams, and they got back Deebo Samuel. Instant X factors, instant game changers. Not to mention you have a guy in the backfield that will not be denied and hadn't been denied for 17 straight games until that Jaguars game in Christian McCaffrey. So it's really hard to stop that team when they have their superstars.
When they're all healthy, and they were all healthy, and they added Chase Young to their health, and now all of a sudden this team is over. They're going to be hard to beat. They had lost 3 games in a row, but they're coming off bye. So are the Jags. I expected better performance from the Jags. We didn't get it, but I think you just chalk this up, just like the Detroit Lions when they went into Baltimore and they just got shellacked. You just talk it up to a bad loss, and you go on to the next week.
And then they had a shootout with the Chargers and overcame that shootout. The Chargers are going to put up points. and the Lions eventually got the best of them in the end.
Yeah, Dan Campbell made a big call at the end of that game. They could have kicked the field goal to go ahead and go up by 3, but it gave the Chargers the ball. So what they decided to do, Dan Campbell thought that they didn't want to kick the field goal with any points. So Dan Campbell actually went for it on 4th and 2.
Oh, that's
instead
right.
Instead of going ahead and taking the points and giving the Chargers back because he just felt like he couldn't stop them. So Dan Campbell made that call, and that was a huge call because they get the first down, and they were running the ball at will. Made sense. Get the first down.
It works.
Kick it, and if we make it, good. If not, we'll go to OT. So those are the big calls in games that I really respect. So.
Okay, so let's roll right into it. To my favorite segment, and a segment that you have to put people on notice, and this is the way to do it. When I needed you the most, and this week I have 3 quarterbacks on that list, and all 3 did not show up when they needed their teams, when their teams needed them the most, and the fan base needed them the most. And first up is Mac Jones. Mac Jones could have been featured every single week outside of that Bills game. He has been abysmal. He has been terrible. He's been bad. Any word that you can find that equates to bad, you give it to Mac Jones. Bill Belichick has been patient. I think Matt Patricia's their OC. Matt Patricia's been patient, and it has led to a lackluster performance. Who is it?
Oh, Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien. And it's led to a lackluster performance from Mac Jones, and you'll find him taking him out of the game, putting Zappy in, then he names him the starter next week.
It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
I think Bill's going delusional.
I don't know what it is.
I think Bill's going senile.
He threw a really, really bad pick against the Colts, and Bill O'Brien lit him up on the sideline. So
bad's not the word.
Number 3 is Mac Jones. I think they need to find another quarterback in New England. I think they need to put him on the bench permanently, and I think they need to move on from him. In at number 2 is Jordan Love. And the reason why Jordan Love is on this list is not only his performance this week, but his performance all year long. You have a very spoiled fan base. They have had 2 franchise Hall of Fame quarterbacks in their franchise's lifespan for the past 20 years in Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. So they need instant gratification, and they have not gotten that with Jordan Love. He's played bad. He's turned the ball over. Their offense cannot get clicking, and they have a good young wide receiver core in Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. They have a good
Jaden Reed's been doing it as well.
Jaden Reed, Aaron Jones, now that he's healthy, and they still cannot get it done. And when you're a Packer fan base, like I said, that you've had 2 great quarterbacks, they want that instant gratification. They're not getting it with Jordan Love. You got to figure it out because they don't love you no more. And then in at number 1. And it's by a long shot he's going to take it this week. It's Joshua Allen. I can't even call you Josh no more, man. You're Joshua Allen, okay? You played terribly against the Broncos. You have not played well this year and last year. And it's time to have a real conversation. They fired their offensive coordinator. Somebody need to be let go.
Scapegoat.
That's all it was. Josh Allen wasn't going nowhere. Sean McDermott's not going anywhere. So you're next up on the totem pole. I need you to leave your badge on the desk.
Ken Dorsey was in there just beating the shit out of everything. He didn't give a damn. He was just breaking things. He was mad, boy.
You need to be. You need to be. The Broncos are a team that everybody should beat this year. They have nothing to lose, and they showed up, and they kicked the Bills in the mouth. So Josh Allen, you're number 1 this week, okay? You turned the ball over twice, and you've been turning the ball over all year long. You lead the league in picks. It's like that kid, you know. Josh Allen's been a quote-unquote elite. He's been in the conversation. Played for the AFC Championship 2 years ago, lost in the divisional round a year ago. It's time to have a conversation. Like they're 500.
Oh, they're 5-5. They're beat up on defense. Don't get me wrong.
They're 500.
I mean, they lose at home to Denver on Monday Night Football. That's a bad L.
That's
I mean, Denver
real
is
bad.
playing better. Don't get me wrong. Denver is playing better, but they shouldn't be on that level. And Stephon Diggs was non-existent that game. He was non-existent.
And that's another part of the problem. But like I'm highlighting Josh Allen right now, and you're right. I mean, the prima donna in him is coming out, and it's just crazy. The whole situation in a team that you thought would be a Super Bowl contender, in a team that you thought would give Kansas City a run for their money, give the Bengals a run for their money, is now 500. And if the playoffs started right now, they're not in.
No. I mean, Josh Allen made there was some plays that Josh Allen made that really bothered me, and the one that bothered me the most was at the end of the half. They're down by 4. They literally called a timeout to get the football back. The first play, he throws a pick, and he gives them another field goal at the end of the half, and now you go down. I think they were down 7 points at that point, and that just took all the momentum and gave it to Denver again. So, like, you just get – there's times when you have to force things, and you go and you trust your arm and you be confident like you are, and then there's times you just say, all right, let's go to half. Let's throw it away. No big deal.
And I think you need to find a table just like this. I think you need to sit them down about as close as we are. And you need to have a conversation with them. Like, hey, man, you're turning the ball over way too much. I'm not doubting your greatness. I'm not doubting that you are an elite quarterback in this league. But turnovers are hurting us.
It's fine until you stop winning, and then everybody cares. You turn the ball over as much you want,
Josh
when you
Allen,
win, nobody cares.
clean yacked up, son. Okay, Joshua.
I've been saying it. Like, I've been saying it, but now that they're losing, now everybody cares. When you don't, like when you win and you turn the ball over, nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's very weird. Lamar's having the same issue. When the Ravens run the ball amazingly and they do all the good stuff, and then when Lamar has to win the game in the fourth quarter, he's turned the ball over. He's fumbled 10 times. 10 times. He has as many touchdown passes as Mac Jones.
But like you said, that's the part that's frustrating, right? Is that when you're a fan of a team where you see something happening where you're like, man,
this is not good.
10 times, but we're still winning, nobody cares.
Right.
And you're like, we need to address this, but as long as we're winning games.
All they do is win. All we do is win until we don't. And then everybody cares.
But
you see it's going to be a problem. You know it's coming. It's coming. You can't continue to win this way. And then everyone wants to take notice once this all happens.
So we're going to have a real tough conversation about Josh Allen in a little bit, but that's going to complete when I needed you the most. Josh Allen, you're number one. Clean your act up, kid, or find a bench.
I don't know if anybody's heard, but in Florida, we got sports betting now.
Do we?
Oh, Hard Rock's got their old sports up app.
Where can they bet? If you'd like to bet on sports.
BetHardRock.com. I think it's Bet Hard Rock, the app.
Hard Rock, the app?
Yep, it's an app, Bet Hard Rock. But now I'm going to add this little segment, since now this is legal in Florida, and we can talk about sports betting. 3 picks that I really, really enjoyed like this week, and I really think you should take notice and look into it yourself. Pittsburgh, Cleveland.
Wait, what is the segment called?
Oh, I mean, we're going to talk about locks of the week. I mean,
locks of the week. If you're a sports bettor, I need you to pay attention. Okay, this man is about to give you. He's about to give you some help.
Locks of the week. And if you lose, just come back and bash me next week. No big deal, because there's no lock.
So give me them locks. What we got?
Let's talk Pittsburgh, Cleveland. Pittsburgh's offense has been abysmal. I mean, I think they're averaging 15 points a game. Cleveland has lost Deshaun Watson, and they're starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
I can tell you why that doesn't matter.
They're starting DTR. We have, and his first start was not pretty, so maybe he's learned a few things. But DTR is going to start, and we're going against 2 really, really, really good defenses. We have 2 really good defenses on Cleveland and in Pittsburgh.
So take the under?
The over-under is 33.5. I could literally see a 13-10 kind of game. And, I mean, I might even bet this under 30. So There's one. Take the under in Pittsburgh, Cleveland. I just don't see how any of those teams score. It's just going to be a slugfest. It's a division game. It's going to be real tough. My next one is Dallas hasn't beaten any good teams, but when they play the bad teams, they beat the brakes off of them. They just beat the tar out.
That's how it's supposed to happen.
And last week they were 17.5-point favorite. I loved them against the Giants. They covered with ease. It wasn't even a sweat. This week they go and play a 1-8 Panthers team. They're 10.5-point favorite on the road. I don't care if they're on the road. Carolina's not any good. Bryce Young is going to throw 3 or 4 picks. I mean, this team's going to get destroyed. CeeDee Lamb has another 10-catch, 150-yard game for his 4th straight.
Okay.
Dak Prescott to Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks woke up last week. I mean, this whole offense is starting to roll. Give me Dallas minus 10.5.
That's a spread on the game?
Yeah. Give me Dallas minus 10.5.
Take Dallas 10.5.
And then my last pick, everyone's going to call this a homer pick. The Dolphins are too good, blah, blah, blah. The Raiders are 13.5-point dogs on the road. This is a great spot
for what?
To bet the Raiders plus 13.5.
Yeah.
the Raiders have turned. They changed their offensive philosophy, and they're doing it the right way again. They're giving Josh Jacobs the ball. They're running it down people's throats. He ran over 100 yards against the Jets, and the Jets' defense is no joke, and it's way
Top
better
three.
than Miami's. So
Top
what
three.
they're going to do is they're going to try to limit the possessions of the Dolphins. I think they can, and I think they covered at 13.5. And I think that with Antonio Pierce at the helm, this team's gritty, man. They play hard, and that's what you want when you go on the road and play a team like the Dolphins, who are all speed. They want nothing but speed when we're going to try to pound them into the ground running the football. And I think they're going to battle. I think they're going to compete, and I really, really like them at 13.5. I think that's a really hard number in the NFL.
That's a big
So
number.
those are my three that I really love this week, and we'll see how I do. And I'll come back and have your record every single week now that we can do this every single week.
Yep, I like it.
And it's going to be fun to watch, and I'm going to enjoy it. So, under Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Raiders plus 13.5, Dallas minus 10.5. Put it in your books. And if you do a 3-team parlay and lose one, don't blame me.
You heard it here first.
But that being said, I want to talk about the best teams in the league right now is the way I see them.
The list is full.
And let me tell you something. Anytime I put a team number one, they get shelled. So get ready, Philadelphia. My number 5 team of the week is the Detroit Lions. They're 7-2. They got shelled by the Baltimore Ravens.
They did.
And I really wanted to put Baltimore here, and I probably should because they beat the brakes off Detroit, but they blew that game against Cleveland, man. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't trust Lamar enough. I trust Jared Goff more than I trust Lamar Jackson. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I do. And I trust that offense more. I like Jahmyr Gibbs. I like David Montgomery. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. That whole offense has got
Josh Reynolds.
more. They have more
Josh Reynolds,
firepower than what Baltimore does.
Yeah.
Baltimore is a run-first team. They want to run the ball. You stop the run, it doesn't seem like they have the ability to throw the ball down the field that well. They can get it to Andrews in the middle. They have a little short passing game. They get a lot of yak yards. They get a lot of yak yards, and it's like I said, I'm putting Detroit there. Number 4, I'm probably going to get shelled for this too, but I'm putting the Dallas Cowboys there, man. They're there, man. They're so close. They almost beat the Eagles. They should have beat the Eagles.
Okay.
If it wasn't for Dak stepping out of bounds at the 3-yard line and that 2-point conversion, have a tie ball game, and who knows what happens. But that offense is starting to click, and I see it. And Dak's starting to sling it. And I defended Dak for the longest time, and then I got off his train after the Niners game, and now he is back to the guy that I thought he was, a good quarterback.
He just has to hold.
He has to make the plays in the bigger games, which he did against the Eagles. They just didn't win, but it wasn't because of him.
It was not because of him. You're right.
The other team just made more plays. I mean, we're talking game of inches in that game. I mean, it was inches on everything.
The sack in the fourth quarter was bad.
You got the sack when you take the sack, but I mean, they got to block better in that spot too. Let's call it what it is. But at the end of the day, if you go back and you look, they had a touchdown literally down at the inch line. I mean, Shoemaker, he throws a great ball, hits Shoemaker. It just happens to be on this arm instead of this arm.
Yep.
He's
Then
down the
bring it
1
in.
yard line, and it was a game of inches. So they played good. They could have beat the Eagles. Number 3, I'm going to put the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not proud of them. I don't think they're the greatest, but they're winning football games, and I always like them moving forward because they're Kansas City Chiefs and they just tend to win. I feel like the only question mark they have is a wide receiver, and it just hasn't seemed to find one. But Rashee Rice seems to be coming on a little bit, and they have Pacheco, who can run the ball very well. Obviously, you have Travis Kelce, so. And the defense is playing phenomenal. That's the Chiefs' always been the downfall.
That's always been their
It's been a
downfall.
question: is their defense good enough? And there's no question now. It's now the offense can they get clicking like they should, but they don't have that number 1 wide receiver you're looking for. So, and then number 2, man, I'm moving the Niners back up. They lost the 3 games in a row, but what I saw from them at the Jags were putting Chase Young in there, and Trent Williams was back, and Debo was back.
They took him to church,
and all these guys were back.
They took him to church,
and they look like the Niners again, and the Niners deserve that spot.
I agree.
And the
100%
Philadelphia Eagles are number 1 team right
Unanimous.
now. You can't.
Unanimous.
They're 8-1. They're the best team in the NFL. They win. They find different ways to win. They have a good defensive front. They have very good wide receivers.
Everything.
Jalen Hurts is playing. He's playing hurt, but he's playing still good enough to do what he's doing. But I respect his toughness because you can see he's not 100% when he's running the football.
100%.
He's limping. But he's I'm going to play. He takes a look as this is my team. Like, I want them to jump on my back. I want them to see that I'm tough. I'm the leader of this football team, and everyone responds, and that's what's great. A.J. Brown, all those guys are responding, and it just doesn't seem to. He does when bad things happen. He just doesn't seem to be rattled by it. Even in the Jets game, you knew he was mad they threw that pick, but it didn't bother him. Next week comes out and just did what he did.
And every week they do what they need to do to win. That's the biggest thing. I think that's the formula, right? Like, that's what you can boil it down to. As long as you do enough to win.
100%. You got to do that. But that was my top 5, and I think we're probably pretty close on that.
Yeah, we are. We definitely are. My top 5 is a little different.
If I'm looking at your notes right, am I going to see this 5 team to what I think it is?
Yeah, you are. I'm gonna give you reasons. They might not be the right reasons.
I respect it.
They might not be the right reasons, but they're gonna be good reasons.
Look at them notes. Wow.
My top 5 teams are 1 to 3 is the same. 4 and 5 a little different. My number 5 team in the league. No, I'm not on drugs, and no, I don't drink alcohol, and no, I'm not drunk right now. My number 5 team is the Minnesota Vikings. Let me tell you why. A team that lost their first 3 close scores, 1 possession games, mistakes, whatever. It's a loss in the column, right? You lose your best offensive weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You then lose your quarterback 1, who's having an MVP season. In my eyes, if you take that and you apply it to any team in the NFL, that team loses, that team gets destroyed, that team doesn't have a chance. For example, Patrick Mahomes goes down. Travis Kelce goes down. That offense is over. Justin Herbert goes down. Keenan Allen goes down. That offense is destroyed. Derek Carr goes down. Chris Olave goes down. And that's my point, is that when you lose such big parts of your offense, the only way normally you go is down. They've gone the other way. You have to have some recognition for winning 5 in a row. Not only winning 5 in a row, you bring in a guy who hasn't been in your facility for 4 days, finds a win against this number 6 ranked defense in the league.
Impressive. I gotta give it to him.
Joshua Pasternak Dobbs.
But that organization also deserves some of this credit because
100%.
They went out and they traded basically peanuts for him. They brought him in, and Josh Dobbs is like one of those journeyman quarterbacks that he's good.
He's good.
He's not great.
He's gonna get the job done.
But when you put receivers and weapons around him, now
put him in a good
be
system.
Great? We don't know.
We don't know.
And for peanuts, who cares?
Who cares?
And the Flores defense, buddy, I got to give it to him. Flores is doing it over there.
They have statistically gotten better every week. Daniil Hunter's leading the league in sacks.
Most disrespected man ever, Flores.
Ivan Pace Jr., highest graded rookie linebacker in the league, 2nd highest in quarterback pressures, only behind Mr. Huff. Mr. Huff out in New York.
Crosby's done it.
The team is getting better every week, and I feel like it would be against my religion. Winning 5 straight, you bring in a quarterback that doesn't know your offense, doesn't know your players by first and last name. Without a Justin Jefferson, you find a Jim and Jordan Addison. We're winning football games. It looks good. Hopefully we can keep winning. They're my number 5 team.
I like that.
Number 4, the Detroit Lions. Because you get into a slugfest with the Chargers, the big offense Chargers, the offense that has a resurrected fountain of youth in Keenan Allen. The guy woke up. I don't know what he's doing, but whatever he's doing, he needs to keep doing it. They find a win there in a shootout with the Chargers. They played well. That one blunder against the Ravens kind of set them straight. Dan Campbell, we love him.
Love Dan Campbell.
Lions are playing good football. They have a small percentage chance to get to the Super Bowl. They're my number 4 team. Number 3 is where we're going to keep it probably about the same. Kansas City. The Chiefs' offense is obviously missing Tyreek Hill. That every week is kind of it's a trend. They're doing enough to win, which is fine. You go to the well in Travis Kelce, but you need that deep threat down the field that you don't have. You bring back McCole Hardman. You hope he gives it to you. We haven't seen it yet. Hopefully we can. So Kansas City is number 3. Number 2, the San Francisco 49ers. As I said, they took the Jaguars to church on Sunday, and they preached good. They preached hard. They were in the pulpit giving out, good words.
The Jags should have went to church before that game. Maybe they played better.
34-3. And they should have probably did a little praying before the
They
game.
should have done something. They pissed somebody off.
They had to have. And the thing about it is, for me, is that the list is fluid. Jacksonville was my number 1 team, and I don't regret it. What we saw from them last week, no one could have projected
You
it.
just chalk it up to a bad L. And
It
you
was
just
a
go the
bad
next
L.
week. We forget about it and you move
Put
on.
it behind you.
That's it.
So San Fran is my number 2 team. Getting back Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams, man,
Huge
when
factor.
they have their weapons, they're unbeatable. Number 1 is the Philadelphia Eagles, and I don't really need to give you any reasons why. If you don't agree with me, you probably don't watch football very much.
8-1.
I don't have to say much. They're 8-1. That's it. That's my list. Vikings, Detroit Lions, Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers, and to round it all out, the Super Bowl favorite, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep, I love it. And moving forward with that, I'm just going to move right into what I want to talk about is our halfway surprises. I have a surprise and disappointed MVP. My surprise team by far is the Houston Texans.
That
They
takes the
nailed
cake.
the draft.
Takes the
They
cake. Takes the
absolutely
cake.
smoked the NFL draft, and D'Amico Ryans does it, and he has some fire to him. And this is why I'm a big fan of Pierce, is because of what D'Amico Ryans does, and they're kind of the same personality.
I wouldn't be surprised if
But-
the Texans roll in there and bump the Jags out of that number 1 spot.
I'm starting to wonder because C.J. Stroud is absolutely
Phenomenal.
doing it, man. He's
Phenomenal.
It's not just, and it's the thing is like people see his numbers, are like, oh yeah, but that's a lot of game flow. Like he had to throw against the Bucks all
What
the time.
numbers?
The big numbers he's putting up.
All of them are good.
You're gonna miss my point. Let me get to my point here. My point is like, yeah, he threw for 400 yards because the game flow made him throw for 400. That's not what I'm looking at. It's his reading of the eyes, his reading of the field, him taking defenders away from receivers, and then finding the guy he really wants. But he's using his body, he's using his vision, he's using all of those things. He looks like a veteran, and that's what I'm impressed with. People are like, "Oh, he threw 450 yards. That's great," because everyone's they're so enamored by stats because of fantasy football. That's not the important part of this. The important part is him reading the defenses, him knowing where he's going to go with this football, him throwing it between cover 2 and finding that little gap that's very, very small in this league, and he's throwing the deep out. It's all over the field. He's checking it down when he has to. It's impressive what that kid is doing.
And not only that, Tyler, are any of these guys he's throwing the ball to notable receivers?
I
Are
mean,
they big-time guys?
This is why they nailed it. They banged Tank Dell. Tank Dell in Houston. He was a Houston Cougar. He absolutely was doing things. Now, he fell in the draft the 3rd round because everybody thought he was too small. Well, he's proven that's wrong. His name's Tank for a reason. I mean, I'm just saying.
No, I'll agree with you. They struck gold not only with the C.J. Stroud pick, with the Will Anderson pick.
Yeah.
That's a grown man. Okay, that's a grown man that's learning.
He's still getting it. He hasn't quite reached that peak, which he won't, right? But
You can see that there's something there. Obviously, all the attention's on C.J. Stroud, as it should be. He's the quarterback, right? The basis of your success rests on his shoulders.
That's what everybody always looks at. And that's only the normal fan doesn't look deep into the detail like I do. I mean, I see everything that he's doing, and that's what I'm impressed by.
He's doing great.
It's different. It's just different when you like understand the game a little more than the normal fan. Anyways, we're moving forward. Like my biggest disappointment is the New York Jets, and I'm gonna tell you why they're my biggest disappointment. Because they're 4-5.
Mm-hmm.
They had the opportunity before the trade deadline to go get you a journeyman quarterback like the Vikings did, and they stuck with Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson stinks. The guy is absolutely terrible. He needs to be gone. I don't understand what Robert Saleh is doing. He's like, well, we're not just blaming him. We're getting penalties. Hey, you haven't scored in 37 possessions. You haven't scored a touchdown in 37 possessions.
That's real tough.
I don't give a damn who you are. If you're the damn... That's on the quarterback. You got at some point you got to complete a deep pass.
Yeah.
There's no way that you cannot score in 37. That's got to be a record.
Well,
I haven't even looked, but it's got to be a record.
Here's the thing.
They
for
should
me.
be with Rodgers. They'd be 7-2. With Zach Wilson, they won't even make the playoffs.
My
and
thing
he had the
is-
opportunity to go get a Dobbs, and they didn't.
Well, okay, you're right. You're 100%
That
right.
organization's my disappointment.
I think where he gained my respect a little bit was that Kansas City game. Close game. He played real tough. He threw the game-losing pick. But you saw some resiliency there. You saw some traits of, hey, I can take accountability for my actions. I can try to get better. And I think Robert Salah is trying to let him get there. Is he right? Is he right for letting him try to get there? No.
He doesn't. Like when I watch him, he doesn't have that ability to throw it over top of people like when he needs to. He doesn't have the ability to throw it over top. He doesn't. He's scared to throw it. He's scared to throw it over the top. He's terrified to, like when like in the NFL, there's holes and there's gaps when some people are playing zone, and sometimes you got to throw it over a linebacker, and you got to throw it in between a linebacker, and you got to throw it in between a safety. And you got to find that hole. He's scared to. He will not do it. He would check it down. He will do everything. And this is why he's never going to be good in this league.
Damn.
He is going to be. Get him out. Go find you a quarterback. Do what the Niners did. Admit you made a mistake and get on. Be done.
Yeah, they and as soon as they did that, and as soon as they committed to that decision, they found Brock Purdy.
And they made a mistake, and right afterwards, it wasn't like they waited it out.
Nope.
Just like the Bears are doing. The Bears are stupid too. They were 2-2 under Bajan.
They're going back to Fields.
And they're going back to Fields.
Yeah.
And the offense moved better. I don't like. I know they're scared. Their standpoint is we draft this guy in the first round. We got to see if he has it. He's in his third year. He don't have it. It's very simple.
Yeah, and
made a mistake. He's done. He's not a good quarterback. He's a very athletic guy.
If Fields is healthy,
terrible,
and they stick with Bajan, that is them telling the world
we're done. I don't disagree. I do not disagree.
So they can't do it. They should.
They can do that.
But
admit your mistakes in this league.
Fair. No, I'll take it.
Admit when you make mistakes. He's athletic as hell. He has a big arm. He looks the part, but he isn't the part. And that's the difference.
And
then one more thing I want to talk about. MVP of the league right now is not a quarterback. The MVP of this league is Christian McCaffrey. That should be the MVP of this league. 100% Christian McCaffrey is doing it. I think he has 700 and some yards rushing with 10 touchdowns. He has 38 catches for another 300 yards. And he just ended a streak of 17 games where he had scored a touchdown. And they even tried to get him in the end zone.
They did. They ran it all 4 downs.
Christian McCaffrey should 100% be your MVP at this moment. I love what Stroud's doing. Stroud's your rookie of the year without even a question mark. And the fact that these guys don't even have Christian McCaffrey in the top 5 or 6 blows my mind. He deserves to be. He deserves, in my opinion, to be MVP. I'm sick of the quarterback conversation. Like quarterback. It isn't the quarterback right now. There is no quarterback standing out.
Who was the last running back that won MVP, Tyler?
Adrian Peterson.
It ain't gonna happen for a very
and he's having
long,
that. He's gonna. I hate that they give this to a quarterback every single year when it's
league
not.
now.
But
you have to.
And in a passing league, when Christian McCaffrey's doing what he's doing, it's even more impressive. He is the best player in the NFL.
And I agree with you, but my thing is you have to take these guys who are in these positions that capture that MVP and look at their performance. He gonna have to touch.
Let me tell you how stupid this is. Let me tell you how stupid it is right now, and this is gonna drive me insane. Christian McCaffrey is the same odds as Brock Purdy to win the MVP. Are you kidding me? That is trash.
I mean,
get your shit together.
My thing when it comes to the MVP race, it's a passing league. I say this because this is how I feel. It has to be a quarterback, right? In terms of giving an MVP to
have to be a quarterback.
In terms of giving the MVP to a positional player other than quarterback, you have to look at the years prior. Like you want to set a standard.
Why do you look at the years prior? Look at this year. It's MVP of the league this year.
Because like that's kind of where that's the basis that they're working on, right? Like you just look at down the years. Adrian Peterson ran for almost damn near 2,000 yards.
Okay, McCaffrey's going to have about 2,300 yards.
He's gonna need it. He's got to get there.
He's the MVP of the league.
Cooper Kupp.
He should have been MVP of the league.
I'm trying really hard.
He should have been MVP.
I'm trying so hard.
I'm not.
Cooper Kupp, Triple Crown. Okay.
He should have won.
They
MVP
won the
too.
Super Bowl that year. He won Offensive Player of the Year. He won the Fred Biletnikoff Award.
He was the MVP of that
He won
league.
every single award.
Guy hated
He
him.
led the league in every statistical category for wide receivers.
Trash.
He did not win the MVP.
That's trash. He deserved the MVP.
Everybody campaigned for Justin Jefferson. I will admit, him being on that ballot last year was great. He won Offensive Player of the Year. He almost broke Jerry Rice's record. He had, I think, like 22,000, something like that. It's not gonna happen. It will not in the foreseeable future. Unless you can break those records of those two players.
Well, but there's no quarterback in the league putting up MVP type numbers right now, and that's just stone cold hard facts of it. There's no quarterback that is standing out being MVP. Not one.
And here's the best part. I agree with you.
Stroud's the closest.
I agree with you.
Yeah, Stroud's the closest.
But that's just how they work. That's how they operate. And when the season comes to an end, Tyler, we're gonna look at each other. And they're going to give
Christian
it to
McCaffrey's going to get it. I'm going to say, I told you so.
It's going to be Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, or Patrick Mahomes.
Christian McCaffrey. I told you so.
That's
and then my defensive player of the year right now is Mad Max Crosby because that's a bad dude, boy. That dude is bad. He plays 98% of the plays.
I just want to look this up real quick.
He has 9.5 sacks.
All right.
He's the baddest dude in the league. He has more tackles than any defensive end by like double. He's a bad dude. He's a bad man. Mad Max Crosby is a bad dude.
He ain't going to be in that conversation for me. Only because, I think a basis for a defensive player of the year is like their impact to their team.
He's impactful.
And I really, really agree with you in terms of watching film. Because there are a lot of plays.
59 tackles.
That's good. That's
for
really
a
good.
defensive end.
That's really good. He's gonna be in that top 4 to top 5.
He's gonna be number 1. He's gonna win. He's gonna win it.
Because when you think of defensive ends, sadly, it's not sad, but defensive ends are tied to sacks. When you're a defensive end in the league,
he got 9.5. He's tied for the lead.
No, it's not.
9.5 sacks tied for the lead.
No, it's not. Danielle Hunter has 11. I think Myles Garrett has 11.
Maybe he was tied going into the last week.
Myles Garrett, Danielle Hunter, and T.J. Watt are, I think, all
9.5.
And that's the thing, like defensive end sacks. That's kind of where they're. That's kind of their.
Maybe
if you want to impact the game, that's where they are. Oh, trust me, I know because Danielle Hunter is a man.
Crosby's 4th in sacks and he's 1st in tackles among defensive ends. He's 9.5, 11, 10.5, and he's 1st in tackles.
I like him
against defensive ends.
I like him, but defensive player of the year, he won't capture that.
He getting that.
He. We're what? We're 10 weeks in, 9 weeks in. If he can put the numbers up, if he can end the year with the sack lead, sure. Yeah. But defensive player of the year is probably going to go to T.J. Watt or Nick Bosa. It's not right. Like it's just the media talks about the popular guys. Like Danielle Hunter was leading the league by a 2-sack margin. Nobody ever mentioned his name.
I bet if you talk to coaches who they take defensive end right now in the league over anyone, there'd be 2 guys, T.J. Watt and Max Crosby. Those are the 2 best defensive end. They're better than Bosa. They're better than all of them. I'm telling you, those are the 2 best because they do more for your team than just sack quarterbacks.
Oh, now, in terms of
pass deflections and all that.
In terms of importance to the team, Max Crosby's number 1.
Hurries, all of that.
Yeah, because what was that? You would know. What game was it where he got a safety in the end zone? Like he completely beat the tackle's ass. He just beat his butt.
Oh, that was the Patriots game.
Yes, and he got the safety. Max Crosby's a grown man. He's a man. He's a man's man.
He's a man.
He's gonna need to keep doing it if he wants to be in the conversation.
He's you ain't got to worry about that.
He's definitely doing a great job.
Max Crosby leads the NFL in pressures 53. 53 pressures.
It's real good. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you.
I didn't know the number. I had to look it up. Don't get me wrong, but he leads the league in pressures.
It's really
and
good.
9.5 sacks. He's right there.
I think he'll be around and he'll be a force to be reckoned with for a long, long time.
I don't disagree. Anyways, let's talk about the games this week. Let's talk about who we like, who I don't like. And we'll start with the Thursday game. This is very intriguing to me. This Bengals-Ravens game is very intriguing. This is a division game. I believe we're going to Cincinnati, if I'm not making a mistake. Is it in Cincinnati tonight?
I think so. I think it's in Cincinnati.
Anyways, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, no T. Higgins. Those two are going to have to show up and play their butts off. But let me tell you right now, Marlon Humphrey is out, and that is a huge factor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And Jamar Chase is going to get a favorable matchup
Is
night long.
Is that safety they drafted for Notre Dame playing?
Kyle Hamilton. I believe Kyle Hamilton is in, but no Marlon Humphrey.
That's big.
No T. Higgins. But Jamar Chase is now not going to be hawked by him. This is the matchup of the night. Can the Baltimore Ravens find a corner to slow down Jamar Chase? Because
What?
I'm saying
course
that
not.
with Marlon Humphrey, they have that ability because Marlon Humphrey's no joke.
They're going to just tell whoever it is, hold on for dear life.
But then again, the Bengals have one of the worst defenses giving up yards. And the Baltimore Ravens are going to control that clock and run the football
Really?
down their throats.
Okay.
So it's going to be kind of an offense versus defense kind of game. The Ravens, it is in Baltimore, and I do apologize. I wasn't sure if it was in Cincinnati or Baltimore. Baltimore's -3.5 in this ball game. I don't think I would bet any side because in a division game, I'm not a huge fan of betting sides. But with Ronnie Stanley out on the left side, left tackle, and with Marlon Humphrey out, two of their better football players, if Baltimore can't run, if they have to control this clock running the football, they have to.
Well, and I think
Because
the
Lamar
point
is
that you
not a
made
drop
earlier is very important. Is that the Ravens like to do one thing when they start the game: run the ball. They can't
They
run the
have
ball.
to run the ball.
They can't run the ball.
They have to run. They're number one run offense in the league, and I think that's going to be the difference tonight. And I am going to take Baltimore, but I think this is going to be one of those. I remember I said the Dallas Eagles game was going to come down to the last possession, and CeeDee Lamb got tackled at the 1 yard line. This could be one of those kind of games. I think this is what we could look at going. It's going to be one of those kind of games.
And I think you're right. It's important with such a heavyweight matchup. Two teams that are really good. Bengals bounce back 0-3 start. They look great. Joe Burrow shook off the calf injury. Lamar Jackson. You thought, man, is Baltimore going to get their money's worth this year? They are. Now I think.
Are they?
Yes, yes, they are.
He's fumbled 10 times. He has as many touchdown passes as Mac Jones.
Yeah. Like you said,
He turns the ball over a lot.
If they win in games.
Nobody cares. Let them start losing.
But I think with a heavyweight matchup like this, it comes down to injury report. Sam Hubbard, starting defensive end,
he's
he is
out. I know, that's a big factor.
Like you said, Marlon Humphrey's out. I can't help but think this will be a shootout. Come down to last possession.
I think this is. I don't know if it's going to be a shootout, but I do know that both teams are. I think both teams are going to be able to score. I think it's going to be a last possession ball game. I think it's what we're looking at here. I don't know what else to like. It's hard to explain, but
if you had to take a team, who you taking?
I take Baltimore because they're at home. I'm taking Baltimore.
I'm taking the
at home.
Bengals.
All right, there you go.
Take the Bengals.
Lock it up. I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Who up next? Who we got?
Bills Jets. I mean,
that Jets defense gives Josh Allen nightmares.
I don't give a damn. Zach Wilson stinks. He is a scrub. Get that guy out of New York. My God, he's terrible.
Damn.
37 possessions without a touchdown? Are you kidding me? Give me the Bills all day. I don't give a damn what Allen does.
Give me the Jets.
This might be one of them dinner things again.
Are you kidding me?
They
Like,
can't score.
listen, the Jets
They
defense.
stink.
The Jets defense is that monster that hides underneath Josh Allen's bed. Okay, I remember very vividly.
It's in Buffalo, too. They're not winning in Buffalo.
Okay, and guess what? Sauce Gardner, had the pass deflection that sealed the game against them a year or two ago. Remember? Rolls to the left, throws 35 yards downfield to Stephon Diggs, and Sauce Gardner did one of those.
Listen,
That's all I'm saying.
they like to sing a song in Buffalo. Oh, 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 oh. Let's go, Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo.
I'm rolling with the Jets once again. I think Zach Wilson just needs to do enough.
Before we go, I want to talk about one story that was hilarious. On Barstool Sports, Frank the Tank, after they were watching the game together, I don't know if you know who Frank the Tank is, but Frank the Tank's hilarious.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the bigger guy,
Yeah,
the Mets guy. He's funny.
I know him.
He said he was watching the Bills game with the Bills guys, and the Bills are losing their mind or the Bills fans lose their minds when he had 12 guys on the field, and Frank the Tank's laughing so hard, and he goes, "Oh no, Buffalo! Oh no!" If you haven't seen the clip, it's hilarious. It's just funny.
I don't know if you can cure Josh Allen of this turnover disease that he has quickly. I think that Jets defense was going to pressure him. I think they're going to put him in a bad situation. And I think his bad play and Zach Wilson's mediocre play.
Mediocre.
I think
Stinks.
Zach Wilson does it. I'm taking the Jets.
Stinks.
I'm just going to tell you that. I'm taking the Jets.
Whack Zilson's his new name. Whack.
What you got
Wacky Zilson. I got Steelers and the Browns on my slate because I think this division hard fought ball game.
10-6.
DTR is going to have to make a couple throws against that defense.
No, so that's what I wanted to tell you. I don't think it matters as much as the media is making it out to be that they lost Deshaun Watson.
Ugh.
I'll tell you why. First of all, I think a lot of the Browns' wins aren't predicated on his performance. I think if you put any quarterback there, because he hasn't been this like Texans MVP race Deshaun Watson that they paid $230 million for. Can we agree on that?
I agree, but like he just went 14 of 14 against one of the best defenses in the league and came back and beat them.
This is true.
What do you want?
But this is one game.
They're 6-3.
The rest of the games, the Browns' defense has kept them in those games.
Right, because he don't have to go win the games when they're in the game flow. And
guess what? When Deshaun, how many games has Deshaun played this year? 2?
I think he set
3?
out. No.
He set out 2 games.
I think he set out 2 games. That was it.
And guess what? DTR got both of those wins.
No, he didn't. PJ Walker,
DTR.
PJ Walker is more veteran than DTR.
Yeah, but
DTR's a stone rookie.
But the point is,
And he threw for 50 yards in his first game.
even with Deshaun Watson removed from the equation, they still get wins. Why? Because they have
defense.
the number one defense.
Oh, their
in the
defense.
league.
Their defense has
That's
to win
why
the
I
game.
don't think it's.
Which is why this game's gonna be 6-3 because Kenny Pickett stinks, DTR stinks, and the defense might score more than the offenses in this game.
I
Jesus.
will say this. I do think they need to go out and get a quarterback.
Who, the Browns?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nobody to get now. Trade deadline's over. You can't go. I mean, you can go pick up Carson Wentz, but who wants that scrub?
Oh no, he's already been signed.
Oh, that's right. Somebody did pick up Carson Wentz. What am I talking about? You're right.
Carson
There
Wentz
isn't
is
even
signed.
anybody signed. They all stink.
I mean, we can look up free agents.
There is nobody. They're all terrible. Might as well put Zach Wilson on the field.
Free agent QBs. No, I think Kevin Stefanski's gonna have to suck
I don't
up.
know. The Jack Wilson's so bad, the Jets might give him away for free.
Nick Foles is out there. Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Joe Flacco.
Oh,
There you
boy.
go. There you go.
Listen, we gotta work with what we got. That's all that we got. You trust them more than DTR and PJ Walker?
I don't know. They're veterans. I probably would trust them a little more. I don't disagree.
Matt Ryan.
Colt McCoy's out there. Actually, Colt McCoy. I could see Colt McCoy coming in and just being a little.
I don't even know who these guys are.
I know who Bryce Perkins is, but he's not very good.
So, I'm gonna take the Browns. The Browns' defense is what keeps them in games. Deshaun Watson, yes, 14 for 14. Yes, led the game-winning drive. All of this is important and relevant. But this is a guy who's been out a few games this year. Like, the Browns have been able to approach their opponents in those weeks and not be worried.
I'm taking Pittsburgh, and there's only one reason I'm taking Pittsburgh. Somehow, Mike Tomlin saves his job every single season when he has one of the worst teams in the league, and somehow they're the worst 6-3 team I've ever seen. They might score 15 points. This team, their offense is so they've been out yardage in almost every game.
Both teams
They suck.
Both teams do the same thing well. They have a good defense.
And then I have this conversation with somebody who's a big Pittsburgh fan every time. They're all like, Mike Tomlin's the world's greatest coach. He never loses. But he never wins either.
Well,
there you
not that he never wins. He never wins in the big moments.
Well, they're not because they're not good.
Would you? I mean, you're right.
They beat
But
the bad teams and they don't score.
It's an incredible thing to say to go in 16 years, you never had a losing. And let's be honest, I don't even know his name no more. Old boy that took the helmet from Myles Garrett.
Oh, you mean when Myles Garrett took the helmet from him, beat the shit out of him?
Yeah, whatever.
Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
You might want to bring him back.
They had a winning record that year.
They're terrible. Their
So,
defense just carries. If they had
Mike-
any kind of talent, they'd be fine.
Mike Tomlin is able to keep his job because every year they knock on the door, they get to the
Which
playoffs.
is why Pittsburgh's never going to win again.
And I agree with that. Like, yeah, he has enough, but can he scrape him through to get the Super Bowl win?
They're going to say he's earned his time here.
Yeah, should they even like rebuild, right? Like, you have Najee Harris, you don't have a quarterback in Kenny Pickett, but he's from Pittsburgh. Like, he's a hometown kid. You don't want to necessarily cycle him out yet. It's a lot to be. There's a lot going on with that organization.
Now you're going to tell me Zach Wilson's a fucking Pro Bowler.
No. No.
I'm just kidding.
I never. No. I can't do that.
Yeah, can't nobody say that because they haven't scored in 37 possessions.
It's real bad down there. What last game is Chiefs Eagles?
Chiefs Eagles. That's going to be a doozy too.
Chiefs Eagles revenge. It's the Eagles revenge tour. So they have so Philadelphia has a very tough schedule.
Brutal.
They checked off one box on that list in the Dallas Cowboys. They got the win. But they have the 49ers, they have the Chiefs, they have the Bills. They have a really tough schedule. One of their bigger matchups this Monday night. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a Super Bowl rematch. There's really nothing about that game that doesn't scream big time watch, big game, lots of big performances from those superstar players. I just want to see the game. But if I had to pick best roster in football, Philadelphia Eagles.
See, this is where I think I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs, and not because I do have. First of all, let me tell you why. Because anytime I put a team number one in my power poll, they get smoked. Yeah. So I'm just going to go against them and pick the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs are at home. I do think the Eagles are a better team, but I think in this situation, I just think the Chiefs at home on Monday Night Football, Andy Reid finds a way to do it. Travis Kelce, Big Gabe, Taylor Swift might get shown 72 times tomorrow on Monday night. Might want to take the over-under on that.
I mean,
and anytime, apparently, when she shows up to games, Travis Kelce tends to have a good one.
Statistically.
And
it's just the numbers.
The Eagles' secondary has not been good. They have been getting torched.
Yeah, they have been giving up a lot of yards. They've been giving up a lot of yards. They have. But their point of emphasis is their defensive line. Jalen Carter,
that's
Jordan
where
Davis.
They win their ball games, 100%.
Yes.
They got Hassan Reddick off that end, Josh Sweat on the other side, and you got those two big boys on the inside just eating up the middle. But I think Patrick Mahomes will make enough plays in this game, and Kansas City will find a way to kick a field goal at the end, just like the Eagles do every single week. They figure out a way to win. I think the Chiefs and Andy Reid find a way to win this week. And I have no rhyme or reason. I think A.J. Brown has a big game. I think Travis Kelce has a big game. I think it's just going to be a really fun game to watch.
That's all I'm ready for.
And like it's going to be one of them games where I told you Dallas Eagles, and whatever game I said earlier was going to come down last possession, the Bengals Ravens tonight. Yep. I think this is kind of that same situation. Like whoever has the ball last might win because they're going to find a way to get in field goal range.
I agree. Close game. I roll with the Eagles. You're taking Kansas City. I guess we'll see what happens.
I mean, it's all you can do. But man. Besides that, man, we've had a fun-filled week. I'll say that, man, with the WPT stuff, and we've been doing some things with this, and I think we're going to give away our first bucks tomorrow or next week. Our tourney bucks for our tournaments here in St. Augustine. We're going to hand out. We're going to have some kind of question. I'm going to post it, and whoever gives me the right answer first, I will give tournament bucks to. And they will have $50 to play in any tournament they want around here.
That's cool.
So whenever you want to use it, I don't think it goes.
I mean, today they ran a $60 no limit hold'em tournament, right? So if you get that 50,
and it had a lot of people in it. It had about
you can go in your center console and find the other 10, and there's a cool $500 up top for the winner.
Yeah, I believe we had 50 or 60. I think 762 the winner, and it's a $60 tournament. Cost you $10 to win 700. It's not a bad deal.
It's a great deal.
So once again, I'm starting that next week. There's a lot of things that are really close to happening. It just hadn't happened yet, but we're working on it and we're still doing it. And things are gonna get more fun moving forward. And I'm looking forward to it. So
Yeah, it's all about timing. It's all about pacing.
100%.
You know, every week we're gonna get better, and every week we're gonna have different things.
We're
going
like
on.
the Raiders right now. We're gonna get better under Antonio Pierce. We're gonna run it down your throats, and things are just gonna get.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
I know. I'm getting wild.
You're getting ahead of yourself. I can slice you a piece of the humble pie.
We're gonna get wild.
I can slice you a
It's
piece.
confidence, man.
I
It's
can slice-
confidence, man.
You know what? Who y'all playing next? Let's go ahead and figure this out.
What are you talking about?
I want to see who y'all playing next.
The Raiders play the Dolphins.
All right.
The fraud fins.
All right. Okay. You call them the fraud. You call.
They haven't beat a team with a winning record yet.
You're gonna be on your couch in fetal position.
The fraud fins are going to lose on the autumn winds.
You can't really feel that way with Aiden O'Connell, bro.
I
There's
love
no
Aiden.
way.
Wait till you see that man throw. You better watch the game this week.
Oh damn! You know what? I'm done.
D. Adams, he loves him. Devontae Adams loves him.
What are
He's
you doing?
stoked.
What are you doing?
I'm watching Aiden O'Connell beat the Dolphin fraud fins. You hear that, Pedro? Fraud fins.
I'm gonna take that out and send it to him.
Send it. Make sure you write that clip.
I'm gonna take all of
then
it out tonight.
send it right to him. But without anything else, man, I think we're gonna go ahead and call it quits for today.
You just yawn.
I did. I've been very hard
You're
at work, man.
tired.
I've been working
You're
hard,
tired.
man. I've been working hard. We've been trying to do this stuff and trying to get people in the right places, and it's been a long, hard week, man. I know you were busy as hell too.
I was,
So-
but definitely was gonna make time for this today. So
Oh yeah, we gotta keep doing this. This is fun. We have a blast regardless of whatever happens. So thank you guys again. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in and watching a little bit of what you could.
we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys next week for sure.